I say in action.
Do it. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to my channel. This is awkward and weird. I'm already tearing up. Why? This afternoon, I'm gonna talk to you about one of the biggest. Can I not be a little baby right now? Or what? Or what? Pause. So today I want to talk about the big topic that is one of the biggest things of my life. Story time about me being 16 and pregnant. I got pregnant with my daughter my junior year of high school. I'll give you some backstory to that. Me and her dad met sophomore year, so I was 15, and he was 16, and we went to two different schools, but we met cliche on MySpace. Good times. Together for a whole year, almost exactly, to when we got pregnant. In the middle of that year, I started birth control. Right when I was getting my learner's permit, I was 15 and 6 months. I started birth control, so I was on it for 4 months when it started. I had started having a little bit of feminine problems, so they ended up trying to switch my birth control, and I was waiting for my next period in order for me to start my new pack, my new pills. And then I started that pack, and it ended up giving me terrible bleeding. So we switched it again, and as I was waiting for my period to start so I could start my new pack of pills, it never started. So it was supposed to start January, and on February 14th, Valentine's Day, I was like, oh, what the heck, let's just take a pregnancy test and see. We were pregnant. We had just moved to a new city about an hour from where we both grew up, and I was in the bathroom, and everything was all packed. Like, we were ready to go. Like, he's got the car loaded. Like, we're leaving for the whole weekend for Valentine's Day to go hang out with our other friends, have like a little, party or whatever. And I come out the bathroom, and I'm looking at him, and he's like pulling brownies out of the oven, like simple life things. And he's like, what? And I'm like, so this thing says I'm pregnant. And he's like, we're pregnant? And I'm like, no, it just says I'm pregnant. And I started crying. I was like, what is going on? Like, we had just moved to this new city away from all of our friends and family. He had moved with me at this time. He had just turned 18. So he moved in with my mom and me and my stepdad. And when we moved away, because he didn't want to just let me move an hour. It was like an hour and 30 minutes away. So he moved with us. Love him for that. But we found out we were pregnant less than like a week after we moved. So that was crazy. So I called my best friend, and I'm like, what is going on? And she's like, well, come back down here. And I was like, we're already on our way. Like, we're ready to go. And so we get down there. I have another friend who was there, and her son, I think he was only 2 months old. Like, he was only 2 months, and I had seen what her and her boyfriend had went through, and like how crazy it was, and how crazy pregnancy was. And I mean, everyone loves a little baby. Like, you are like, oh my God, he's so cute, I want one. No one actually wants one at that age. I mean, I'm sure there are people who do, but I was not ready. I knew I wasn't ready. I had dropped out of school like 2 months before due to a couple like medical things, and I'd already missed so much time. I just dropped off to start online classes, and her dad had left too, and I don't know who was ready for that. We didn't say anything to my mom. She was asleep on the couch. We just left. So she was asleep, and we both were just like, we gotta go. We gotta leave. So when we finally told our friends at the party, I didn't even know. I took, I think, 4 or 5 more pregnancy tests that night, and I'm like, it's still pregnant. And everyone's like, it's not gonna change. So I don't know. I was just overwhelmed and feeling crazy. My mom and her best friend were actually me and my best friend's mothers. Why was that so difficult to say? Anyways, like me and my mom and my best friend at the time, we took her mom to dinner to like tell her. And of course they're like drinking margaritas, like, oh my God, what's going on? So we told her mom first that I was pregnant. And she was like, oh shit. We're gonna have to do another sit down. So my mom, we told her to come over. It was like an hour drive, and she was already gonna be in town because we were still getting things out of our old apartment that was in the same town that everyone lived in. And she comes in and she's sitting down, and they call me and Kelsey in, and my mom just looks at me like she knew. She was like, no. And I just started crying. And I was like, I'm so sorry. And my mom is super supportive of everything. She was supportive of me when I left school to help me get into online classes. She was supportive of me through my entire pregnancy. She was supportive of me in that moment, like the moment I told her. And that was a very emotional thing for me, like telling my mom. She had done so much for me to help me. She had just got out of a marriage about a year before. We had moved 2 times in that same year. She had just found someone else that she was spending time with, interested in, and we were moving to the town he was in to live with him. He knew that I was coming, and he knew that Colton was coming, and he was super supportive as long as we both stayed in different rooms, which, you know, as long as he could be in the same city with me, like, we were fine with it. But this was a hard time for her, trying to tell somebody that you're moving in with, that your 16-year-old daughter is pregnant. And now it's a whole different load to bear on him. And I know that was stressful for him and her. And that was I guess one of the first trying times in their relationship, because she was afraid he was gonna walk, you know? You're now taking on an entirely different burden that nobody expected less than a week after we had all moved in together. So that was a little bit crazy. And I had gone to like the free clinic already, and they told me based on my last period that I was 7 weeks or something like that, like 7 weeks and 3 days. And then I had made an appointment, but they wanted me to wait until I was at least 9 weeks so that they could see the baby's heartbeat and everything on ultrasound. So I had to wait almost 2 weeks. I would be like 9 weeks and 3 days or something when I went to have my first ultrasound. And I ended up going less than a week later to the hospital because I started bleeding. Nothing crazy, just a little bit. And of course at this time I was so young. I'm like, oh God. I hadn't done any research. I didn't know that, you know, beginning bleeding was sometimes normal. I went in and they're like, how far along are you? And I'm like, I should be 6 weeks. I should be almost 7 weeks. And they're like, okay, cool. We should be able to see the baby on ultrasound. So they're like giving me an ultrasound, and they're like, we don't see anything but I guess it's called the yolk sac. Like, we don't see anything, like there's no actual baby, there's no heartbeat yet, like, we're gonna give you a blood test. And I'm like, okay. And they gave me a blood test, and I was 3 weeks pregnant. How do you even find that out? My period put me at 7 weeks. So she said, because of being the on and off on birth control and being on other medications based on like the feminine problems that I had, I just must have ovulated late or at a random time, or randomly dropped an egg. They have no idea, but I was only 3 weeks pregnant. And when you find out that early, your pregnancy takes forever, for the record. It's like 6 weeks and 3 days, and she was like nothing, like a little sack. And just I guess they were making sure the bleeding and everything has subsided. And then I went in for my actual like scan to see how big the baby was, or at least make sure the baby was growing, for my 6-week appointment at 9 weeks, 9.5 weeks. And she looked like a little hamster. So she was healthy, she was growing. We were convinced we were having a boy. Absolutely had a boy name picked out, everything. I didn't find out until I was 20 weeks pregnant with her. I didn't go to like a 15, 16, 17 week appointment, and you know, the ultrasounds, they'll let you pay for them to find out. We didn't do that. We found out at 20 weeks that she was a girl. Her name is Cameron Bailey. She's now 6. They didn't want me to gain a ton of weight because I was already a bigger girl. I think I got pregnant with her at 170. Of course, I didn't watch my weight. I was a teenager. It was during summer that I was pregnant with her. She was born in October. So I was pregnant all summer, and I had gotten my GED. I was done. I was like, I'm gonna live my life. Like, I got a part-time job at Shoney's, my first serving job ever. I served my entire pregnancy, and that was great. Like, the walking around really helped me during a pregnancy. I feel like it's better for your body, but I definitely I think I gained exactly 50 pounds. Like, I got pregnant with her at 175 and I delivered at 225. So I was a big girl at 16. I did deliver her at 17. I turned 7. My birthday's September 2nd and her birthday's October 22nd. So I was 17 in 1 month when I delivered her. The delivery was a whole nother story. I was in labor exactly 40 weeks and 3 days. I went in to get induced, but I was already 5 centimeters dilated and had been having contractions all night, so I was gonna have her that day anyways. Her due date was October 20th, which was my best friend's birthday at the time, but she was October 22nd. I went in, I was in labor for about 9 hours. I pushed for 1 hour and 51 minutes. Like, I had shoulder dysplasia. Like, her shoulder got stuck on my pelvic bone. So I got rushed by like 6 doctors. Like, my best friend gets pushed in the corner and she was videoing. My mom and my boyfriend got pushed in the corner, and I got rushed by like 6 nurses, 2 doctors. Everyone's telling me to shut up. Everyone's screaming at me. I got elbows in my stomach. I'm telling you, it was torturous. It's probably why I still don't even have another kid now, because it's scary. But she came out fine. She was 8 pounds, 15 ounces, 21.5 inches long. So she was a big baby for sure. After we had her, I just kind of looked at her like, what is this? Like, did I really have the child? I didn't know what to do. I had babysat a lot. I had been around kids, but when it's your own kid, like, you kind of look at them and you're just wondering, what did I do? I made this. Like, I made this. We made this. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It was scary. He ended up joining the military, so that we stayed with my mom for the first year of our life, and he ended up joining the military. He had wanted to do it anyways, and now that we had a child, it just kind of made the most sense. I quit my job at Shoney's and just became a stay-at-home mom. I still lived with my mom and my stepdad. He was gone for 5 months. And that was his training and his schooling. I got to see him in the middle of that, and it's just crazy how much, like, when he left, she was 5 months, and she had just learned to sit up. And when he got back, she was walking. It was a hard time in our relationship because he was gone for 6 months, and I couldn't really talk to him because he was in a really strict schooling. Usually in schooling, they get their cell phones back. They didn't. So that was hard on us, not really being able to talk. But the letters, we sent letters. He got back in September of 2010. She was 11 months old. He got a full-time job in the city that we are originally from, where all of our friends and family are at, and we moved back down there. He was at that job for I think 3 or 4 months before me and Cameron moved down there, just to make sure that we could get, our saving up for the deposit on the apartment and all the utilities turned on and all that good stuff. So we moved down there in February 2011. She was a year and like 4 months. We got our first apartment. I ended up getting a serving job at a local bar. I stayed there for a while. So I was there for 3.5 years. I ended up going from server to manager to bartender. And then he stayed doing the reserves on the weekends, 1 weekend a month, and then his 2 weeks during the summer. And then he stayed he had a full-time factory job. So me and her father are still together. Doesn't happen always like that, but thank God for that. We are going to be 9 years this year as of January 1st. She turns 7 October 22nd. So she is huge and grown, and we just bought our first house together. I still work in a bar, bartender for life. no. I want to go back to school, but I still work in a bar, full-time job as well, a good job with all the good benefits and things. So we're doing well. Life has not always been easy, but we seem to have made it work, thank God. I really appreciate you for watching. If you want to know more about my family or more about who I am or us as a whole, maybe vlogs, I definitely want to do some makeup videos too. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, let me know. I'm awkward in the camera still, I get it. Thank you so much. Bye. Do you want to be seen? Okay, come here. This is Cameron. You say hi. Hi. Super awkward for me and now super awkward for her. Filming is weird.